Issues at hand, WBS TV. Peter Kibazo discussing the Democratic Party. It is about that time that every party is going to give you the roadmap. It's going to give you what they are doing at this point. I remember the FDC launching their platform at the Serena, very pompous, high-end function. The NRM, I think only yesterday, issued its guidelines and framework of how they are going to arrive at where they are at. Today, I have the Democratic Party. Charles.
Hello.
When you dusted yourself off and came to the headquarters, what were the points of contention in the roadmap that you thought these had to be addressed and hadn't been addressed? Or was it just a point of, I've been away, I need my presence filled, I need to stamp my foot and people know I am here?
Well, that statement is not right. I didn't just come to show up, that I have to be felt and my presence has to be felt.
Well, I asked, which of the two?
One thing I've told you that is that I've been in touch with a number of DP members who feel that they were locked out with the Mbale event of electing the delegates conference. When the new roadmap was drawn and passed by National Executive, members looked at it and they raised some issues of contention. One was that they felt that the roadmap was being rushed. And there were some activities which, when they looked at them, they found out that they had been overridden by events. Some of them, the time had passed, so they couldn't be implemented. Another issue was that the roadmap was being implemented in parts before the National Council had looked at it and considered it and passed it. That was also an issue of contention. The other issue of contention was that members felt like they wanted an independent electoral commission to oversee the election process so that members can get a fair treatment, a fair hearing in the process of the elections. The other issue was that that they raised was that they wanted and they still want a process management committee, because they feel that if we are going into an election process, the process itself determines the end result. If the process is not monitored well, and if the process is not independent, then they feel the process can be manipulated to bring other forms of results that are not desired. So these were the point of contention. And the last one was that there were some activities which were so important that had not been included in the roadmap. So members had the view that National Council should consider those points of contention so that they make a roadmap that is all-inclusive, that provides for an independent electoral committee to oversee the elections and the process management committee. Those were the issue of contention, and members who are arguing that all have the feeling that they must.
And what feeling do you
want to participate in the
I want to hear you, Charles.
My feeling and the view I have is that we, members of the Democratic Party, myself inclusive, want a strong and united party that is all-inclusive, that it has open doors to allow all members to come into the party so that we can march out as strong as we need to take over government and win elections.
And you do not think that the roadmap that you had was addressing that and delivering you to that point?
Yes, it had some oversights. But when we went to National Council, of course, National Council...
and you do not find yourself culpable for having missed the organizing of the roadmap as the organizing secretary?
Well, at any point, you can participate. Because when I came, I participated. And of course,
by kicking up a bit of dust.
My participation has brought a number of improvement in the roadmap. For example, when we were in the National Council looked at the roadmap and it gave us some time for extension. Yesterday, when I was in Mukono, I was with the national chairman, and the national chairman really said that we need to have an independent electoral commission. So we are in the process of considering this. So this is a contribution, and for me, in my opinion, I feel happy if we bring views to our fellow leaders.
I'll
and
hold
they
you there.
listen.
Hold you there.
So that is that.
Kenneth, the
So-
roadmap that you had generated, did you
That
feel
the
that...
party had generated.
Yes, the you now is part of the executive.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
If you
Did you feel comfortable with it? Do you feel that it was unduly faulted by Charles and those that he says he speaks for?
I think what we are talking about here is the principle. When the roadmap was brought in the National Executive Committee, it was in a raw form. The NEC digested it and dissected it and came out with a final roadmap. There are things in the roadmap I did not agree with. There are things I agreed with. But in a democracy and in a fora like the National Executive Committee, you don't always have your way, but we have collective responsibility. What comes out finally is what binds us all together.
Kenneth,
as a
let's talk
party.
about timing.
Yes.
Do you feel comfortable that as a party today, in less than a year to the next election, you're still talking about the process of reconciliation, the process of bringing people back to the party, the process of then ultimately you'll end up in elections, primaries. and those. Don't you think that actually this in itself is a sign of weakness for the party, is a sign that you're not ready for things to come?
In 2011, after elections, we sat again in Massacre and we considered a lot of things. That is 4 years ago. One of the things that were a subject of discussion was reconciliation. And we said, let's
And
go
it took
out.
you another 4 years
No,
to think about it.
we said not thinking about it. We discussed and deliberated and had resolutions. In fact, the person who was in charge of reconciliation was none other than Mr. Serunjoji. That was 2011. Reconciliation is a process. It's not a one-off. It's not like going in a supermarket, pick bread, and go home and you have it. No, it is a process. It deals with the people's sentiments. It deals with the people's feelings. And I think we have gone a long way in that path.
Kenneth,
But
Kenneth,
talking
Kenneth,
about...
hold there.
Yes, sir.
You have an election next year in February? February,
Yeah,
March.
March.
March. This is April.
Yeah.
By this time, you should be hitting the ground running. You should know what your structures are.
Yeah.
But we are still talking about bringing Group A, Group B, and they are identified as groups. If you had Charles here speak, I talked to the group of Suvi that has Lukwago and compatriots. I talked to Rubega Mukaku and compatriots. I have talked to the Kobwemis. Effectively, you're talking to sub-units of the party. And then you have the mainstream, if it's really the mainstream itself, that remains at the party headquarters. And you have barely 8 months to the ultimate election.
I think-
is that a sign of
I
organization?
think what you have to understand is that these are people holding different opinion on where or which direction the party should take. Now, whenever there is an election, you have people, even in national election, anywhere, you will have people who think Chibazo is the right man.
Ken, I
Or
don't
Serengeti
differ
is
with
the-
you
Yes.
on that people hold different opinions.
Yes,
I don't even care what opinion they hold.
yes.
I'm looking at the time. Are you
Yeah.
conscious of the timing?
Yeah, because what is important is if you are going in a national election, you give time to people to think about which positions they want to stand for. National election is coming, parliamentary and presidential. You give time to people who think, I can be president. They think through. Then when you hold a delegates conference, they say, I think I can offer my candidature
When
to
is
the
your
delegates.
projected delegates conference?
It is coming in June.
June of this year.
Yeah.
Do you think between June and March is enough time to heal the new wounds that will be opened by that delegates conference?
Well, a delegate, you have to be a Democrat to be in the Democratic Party. And a Democrat means You may lose.
I
You may
pray you
win.
use the word you should be, because I'm not sure whether there are.
Yes, we are. Democrat big D, not small d.
I'm going to put that to question,
Yeah.
to test.
Yeah,
I will see that.
you have, and to be a Democrat big D, you must be a Democrat small d. So, whoever is in the Democratic Party knows that he has subjected himself to these values and the processes. If I lose an election, I don't become your enemy.
Kenneth, you've
I
been here.
help you.
Kenneth, you've been here.
Yes.
And you're not talking from Pluto or Jupiter.
Yeah.
You have been part of the elections in the
Yes,
Democratic
yes,
Party.
yes.
And you know that for the last 4 years, people have not sat at the same table and talked.
Yes.
People have gloated in this city, so-and-so should be thrown out of office because he ran away from us. I love that. You know that other people have said so-and-so is not capable of doing this. You know that people have left the Democratic Party when they've lost elections and created parties of their own. So you can't be blind to the fact that after the delegates conference, there'll be wounds to heal.
Naturally, I agree with you.
And is the
I
time
agree with
between
you.
then and
But
March
another
decent
thing,
enough?
But what you should know also, that to be in the Democratic Party, you don't have to be friends. You have to believe in the values. Even your way of thinking as in terms of direction which party should take does not have to be in unison.
Chaz,
Let me add my voice to this. The question that do you think we have the time for members to come back to the party? I think yes. One thing we have to appreciate that is taking place in the Democratic Party is that members themselves of the Democratic Party and who feel that they were left out are already willing to come back. There is that willingness. They are not going to other parties, they are not going to the movement, they are not going to FDC, they are not going to CP or whatever. They are saying, here we are party members. All we have to do, and what will make our members be with us in the next delegates conference, is to manage the process well. And this is what they are demanding for. Reconciliation, yes, it is a process. And I think so many people have reconciled with themselves and reconciled with so many of us. For example, I'll give you a clear example. Myself, I was not organing well with the Lord Mayor.
Yeah, what was the problem?
Yes, we had different opinions. We
Okay.
had different opinions.
Which is
I
natural.
went to Mbale. The Lord Mayor didn't go to Mbale. The Lord Mayor is a personal friend of mine. But since then, we've not been in good books.
Yeah,
But we have since reconciled.
which is okay.
And I talked to him. We are now friends. We now also eat on the same table.
and it is alleged that actually your return. Hold. Let me complete this. Let me complete this so that you actually deal with the whole.
You
bit of
complete
it.
the reconciliation? What
Yes,
are you completing?
yes, and it is alleged that your return lately has been engineered by my friend the road mayor and my friend the Kawempe North MP, whose ultimate interest is if Serunjoji is here, we are delivered hence. Because my ultimate nemesis, Sulaiman Chidandala, if he's the one organizing, then I'm knocked down. And nemesis to Latif Tsebagala, nemesis to Elias Lukwago. So bring back a Serunjoji. You can patch up your differences.
Yeah, but
and he delivers you hence.
Isn't
it true? Isn't it true?
That is not right. I have told you, my brother, that I, in my capacity as a national organizing secretary, I have been meeting, and my brother has told you that the function of reconciling members of the party who felt like they were being left out was given to me, and I've been doing this, and the product is now on table. Members are saying yes.
you are talking to Lukwago.
I've talked to Lukwago, yes,
Yeah.
and the Lord Mayor is saying yes. I am a member of the Democratic Party and I want to participate in the elections. All we have to do is to manage the process well, and this is what they are demanding for. That shows that already members are reconciled with themselves. They are reconciled with us. Like now, I talk with the Honorable Elias Lukwago, I talk with the Rubega. That means we have reconciled. But what they are demanding for, and what I think we are going to do to ensure that they are with us, is to manage the election process very well, because that was the point of diversion. That was the area where members felt that, in the last delegates conference, where members felt that it was not okay for us to go to Mbali. Now they are saying, let us put it right. And already I think we are agreeing. The National Council has already accepted that we start handling the, the election processes in a way that is going to entice and allow our brothers to participate.
Viewers, you are able to join the show. Numbers are displayed on the set. You're able to call into the show. Put your question or comment to both gentlemen. I'll be able to just do one thing, look at them and let them answer the questions.
Can I add one thing?
Yes. Very briefly, because I need to take a break.
Now that those who are not comfortable with Chidandala are comfortable
with Serunjoji.
I think that's it. Everybody's on
You
board.
agree with me, therefore, that Serunjoji has been delivered to the table by those that
this
are opposed to
man
Kidanda.
was elected in Imbali as the
And he
national
went under the table.
organizing secretary.
That's not right.
Well, that is those are his questions. But today he's there, live, kicking, and active, which is okay. We want active members.
Question as we go into the break.
Yes.
Is it true that your process is actually organized selfishly by individuals to deliver themselves hence? That everyone that is touching the process has clear intents. If it is Serunjoji, it is to deliver my brother Lukwago as president. It is to ensure that my friend Latif Sebagala is MP Kawempe, and all those processes. If it is Sura, it is to pay back the guy for not having signed the minutes so that I receive a salary
Where do you
of
get
deputy
this
mayor
thing?
for... we take the break.
Where do you get these things